Former Trump administration official Joe Kent, who resigned following the start of the war against Iran, got into a little tiff with the US ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, and kind of took him to school on a topic in regard to our ally, Israel. Now, before I give you the details, Cenk, what do you think?
Well, this one's a layup. So Joe Kent's gonna annihilate Mike Huckabee, but I also wanna really dive into the details of how Mike Huckabee is lying to you. He's supposed to be our ambassador, but in reality, he's representing Israel instead.
One of my favorite arguments that Mike Huckabee has made in favor of Israel is like, if we don't support Israel, where are we gonna get our seedless melons? Like,
I hadn't heard that one. Okay.
I'm gonna be all right, okay? You can keep your seedless melons. Anyway, let's get to this exchange. So it actually began with Mario Nawfal posting this on X. Joe Kent says Israel has no natural resources and only exists as a regional power because of US funding. Slight problem, Israel has massive offshore gas fields, is home to one of the world's top tech ecosystems, and exports over $165 billion in goods and services annually. The US support argument has real structural merit. The economic facts around it don't have to be wrong for the point to land. By the way, Mario Nawfal really goes out of his way to give Israel the benefit of the doubt over and over and over again. But like the Oppo researchers on behalf of Israel here in the United States are doing Oppo research and creating dossiers on him anyway. So like, get to know the people you're talking about, Mario.
Okay.
Get to know the people you're talking about.
Look, I don't want to get too into it, and I don't know the brother's situation. I've been on a show a bunch of times. I like him as a person and stuff. If you're based in Dubai, which is in the United Arab Emirates, they are allies of Israel.
Yep.
But what Mario is finding out in real life, and it's not just about him, everybody's finding out, is it doesn't matter. Even 2% criticism of Israel will get you attacked viciously. There is no amount of ass kissing that's enough for the Israelis. And I'm not saying that Mario is doing that. I'm just saying the minute you try to be honest a tiny bit, they're gonna come for you. I mean, just ask Megyn Kelly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, and the reporting that I'm alluding to about the dossiers, that was a story that I covered on the show last Wednesday, and it was based on a leak that was given to former White House correspondent Gabriel Cuccia. So just wanted to make sure I gave you the details on that.
Yeah, sorry, I've got to say two things about the actual tweet
Okay, it's
itself.
over. Like the point of the story is like forgotten. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, 2 points about what Mario's saying. There's actually a giant gas field off the coast of Lebanon, and that's part of the reason why Israel's attacking Lebanon, which actually proves that Joe Kent is right. They don't have enough natural resources, and so they're trying to get more by taking that gas field off the Lebanese waters as part of their invasion of southern Lebanon. But his statement that the US support has real structural merit, that's not true. There's no structural merit. Israel does not help us 1%. But again, we'll show that to you in the receipts here.
So before Joe Kent responded, you have Ambassador Mike Huckabee saying that Joe Kent is either not very smart or just dishonest. I mean, you think that you have to support a genocidal country for the second coming of Christ. So you want to talk about who's smart and who's not? Anyway, but let me continue with his statement. Israel receives $3.8 billion, but spends far more than that buying US military goods. Okay, pause for a second. I don't care. I don't care. I don't particularly like the fact that our resources, our money is being redistributed from ordinary American taxpayers to defense contractors. Okay, with Israel serving as the middleman. I don't care, that doesn't make me feel good. That argument is so stupid, but they make it over and over again. He says US also receives intel, tech innovations, so that return on investment is many times more.
Hilarious.
New MOU, memorandum of understanding with Israel ends aid and will be based on trade. Total BS, by the way, that's a lie. Kent responds to that by saying, Ambassador, your job is to represent American interests in Israel. With that in mind, please explain what we receive in return for our investment in Israel. How have Israel's actions in Iran, Gaza, or Lebanon, to name a few, made America safer and more prosperous? The arms sales argument is flawed logic. We give Israel money so they can buy American weapons. Why not just spend our money on weapons for our own inventories, which, by the way, are running super low as we speak? And then he says, the intelligence we get from the Israelis can be useful, but our increasing over-reliance on it has caused our own capabilities to atrophy. Also, they give us false intelligence all the time because they want to drag us into wars. He continues, we are a sovereign nation. We cannot outsource components of our national security to nations that do not share our interests. Of course, they will put their own interests first. No other nation prioritizes the needs of a different country before its own, because that would be foolish. Israel can still be a decent partner so long as we are clear-eyed about the differences between our two countries and act accordingly. We have to put America's needs first. So just to give you one piece of information that debunks Huckabee's lies, US taxpayers funded $17.8 billion in arms sales to Israel under Joe Biden, and then $11.9 billion government brokered and $5.9 billion commercial. 81% of the $22 billion in sales from 2021 to 2024, that's nearly $18 billion in subsidies disguised as sales.
Last month, the Supreme Court cleared the way for Alabama Republicans to pursue a new voting map, and the coverage of that decision split almost instantly along partisan lines. Now, on the left, a high factuality source says this decision paves the way for racial gerrymandering. On the right, a mixed factuality source frames it as a fix for Democrat-friendly congressional districts. So which one is it? Well, this is a major story that could affect the balance of power in the midterms, and without ground news, it would be a whole lot harder to instantly see that partisan split across the more than 200 sources covering it. That's exactly why I recommend ground news. You just saw how easy it is to look at one story and immediately compare who's pushing what. Ground news is a website and app that pulls together reporting from across the political spectrum so you can compare how the same story is being covered, see the bias distribution, check the factuality ratings of the sources, and even see who owns the outlets behind the reporting. Ground news also has a blind spot feed, which highlights stories that one side of the political spectrum is barely covering at all. So you're not just trapped inside the version of events your usual media bubble wants to feed you. If you're tired of being fed somebody else's narrative, I genuinely recommend ground news. Go to ground.news/TYT or scan the QR code. Using our link gets you 40% off the Ground News Vantage plan, and you can also gift a subscription directly through Ground News.
And take a look at this fun graph. Shows that Americans do in fact pay for most of the US arms sales to Israel. While Israel funded arms to the tune of $4.2 billion, we spent $17.8 billion on Israel's weapons.
Yeah. Okay, so now let me do my part in breaking down the propaganda. And we've been talking about this a decent amount lately, which is that their propaganda actually sucks. It's really weak. And part of the reason that it's so weak is because it's never been challenged for the last 50 years. They would just say it and they would brainwash everybody with it. And if anyone dared disagree with even a little part of it, they'd call them an anti-Semite and ruin their lives. And you'd never see them on television or their byline in a newspaper again. So that's what's happened in America, and they could pretend that it didn't, but it most certainly did. So that's why when they say things like, oh, the $3.8 billion that we give to Israel actually helps us because they buy American weapons with it. Joe Kent makes a terrific point. Or we could buy $3.8 billion worth of weapons for us. That would also help our economy. Why do we have to buy it for you? And if it helps us so much to give you $3.8 billion, now I'll add on top. Does that mean that if we gave every country on earth $3.8 billion in weapons, that we would be even more helped? Remember, this is all free money we're giving to them. So that's what they're trying to give a smokescreen around, so you don't realize that that's a robbery. We're not trying to cure cancer with them. We're giving them weapons to kill people for free. Then my favorite one is, no, the $3.8 billion helps you so much because it helps your economy. Well, terrific news for you guys, including Mike Huckabee, who's obviously at this point an Israeli. Hey, Mike, why doesn't your beloved Israel give us the $3.8 billion back That way, that'll help Israel. That's your logic, right? That's your moronic, obviously pathetically stupid logic, right? So if you give $4 billion to someone, you get the help. Great, you know what? We'll do one better. Israel can pay us back the entire $320 billion we gave them. That'll help them so much. Their economy will boom, right? That's your logic. All right, well, I'm not done. The new memorandum of understanding he lied about, it's 10 more years of funding Israel. Now, this is what shows you that the American media is in on it. Because we read the articles, we saw the tape of Netanyahu, and so did they. Their reporters saw it. And everyone is reporting like Israel doesn't want any more money. That's not true at all. They said, we don't want any more money after 10 more years. No, and 10 years later, they're gonna say, well, the situation has changed. We're surrounded by terrorists, just another 280 years and then we'll be done, right? No, that's not ending Israel's funding. It's continuing for 10 years. It is an outrageous lie, aided and abetted by every person posing as a reporter on television. They're not reporters, they're propagandists for Israel. And I'm proving it to you guys every single day. We do it nonstop. All right, now they say tech initiatives. Oh my God, they have such great innovations in Israel. First of all, as we showed you on an earlier show when we talked to an Israeli who has left Israel because it's gotten so bad there, actually tons of their innovators and their tech industry are leaving. They're like, oh, this war is a pain in the ass and it's really inconvenient and I don't want my family to die. No, don't get me wrong. Half of them are saying, I'm still gonna finance Israel killing all these people and maybe once it settles down, I'll come back.
They're leaving and going where?
They're going to Europe and they're going to America, okay?
So they're going home?
Well, in a sense.
Where do the Palestinians get to go? They don't have a second passport.
No, they don't. But here's what I wanted to say about the tech innovations. Okay, that's great. Do they give it to us for free? No, they sell it to us. Do they not sell it to anyone else? No, they sell it to everyone. So what do we get out of it? Absolutely nothing. You see all the lies? And why would somebody tell you that lie? It's like saying, oh, Apple did a great tech innovation. You're welcome, Israel. But do people have to buy iPhones in Israel? It's not like they're getting it for free. Same thing in reverse. And last one, the intelligence. That drives me crazy. So we know they give us fake intelligence. And I'm super worried about what Joe Kent said. Because he said, we rely on them so much that our intelligence gathering is atrophying. Are you nuts? They're giving you intelligence on their behalf, not our behalf. You shouldn't rely on their intelligence at all, let alone relying on it for most of our intelligence in the Middle East. That's why all the intelligence is wrong, because it's jerry-rigged to be in favor of Israel and against us.
We have 18 intelligence agencies.
And 18. Utterly useless. And we just put like Donald Trump's limo driver in charge of DNI. They put this Pulte guy, they Pulte him out of their ass. He's the guy who was working in housing, and he had no experience in housing either.
Oh, he had experience as a developer.
Yeah, and he was saying, trying to help people get affordable housing. You're right. So now they put him in charge of DNI, and DNI, the only thing he's known for is being Trump's hatchet man.
Yeah.
So they're just letting Israel give us nonstop fake intelligence that says, oh, you have to attack Israel's enemies. That is your great intelligence from Israel. And that's literal, guys. They did it in Iraq and they did it in Iran. So Israel doesn't not only not give us anything, and then on top of that, they take all of our money. On top of that, they make us spend more money on wars, and then they say it's not enough. It's not enough. You owe us more. It's insanity. No one in their right mind would think that we owe Israel anything, not a dollar, not a cent. They owe us literally trillions of dollars. But if you watch the American media, you wouldn't know any of that. You'd think it was the reverse. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets its wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.